나도 그때 조금만 아는데 정보 많이 없고 한국 친구도 많이 없었어요 그때. 근데 신기하다. 안녕하세요. 미국에서 온 아린님입니다. 10년 전에 아마 알 수 있는데 정보 많이 몰랐어요. But I feel like they were mainly known for technology, for like manufacturing of like really nice. But I guess young people during that time don't really focus on that type of thing. Maybe I wouldn't know if Samsung was Korean or not until somebody told me. And I knew what Korea was, but I don't know that much about it. 난 한국 영화 수업 다녀왔어요. 그 수업에서 뭔가 옛날 한국 비디오도 봤어요. 그때 뭔가 너무 countryside 느낌이었어요. I got that feeling from those type of videos, but I don't know about 10 years ago. Because those were from like a long time ago. 궁금하다.
Number one, Korea is a beautiful place. And this is number one in my regard because I take a lot of groups to Korea. I go to Korea 3 times a year with the school administrators, school teachers, and school writers. They've gone out and seen the Korea. We've got a lot of times people say, I never realized Korea was so beautiful. It is absolutely a beautiful place. Mountainous. I got some pictures here. Isn't that beautiful? Koreans have this phrase of sun. Layers and layers of sun. Number two.
아름답지 뭐. 그냥 서울만 봤어. 다른 너무 아름다운 게 잘 못 봤어요. 근데 나도 한번 또 가고 싶은데요. That I heard like about all the really pretty resorts or like Jeju or even like the mountains and I don't know. I've heard a lot about the scenery in Korea, but I haven't been able to go. I want to go sometime.
Some people, David and my age, remember when Korea was poor. The economic success story of Korea is tremendous. The way they turned from an extremely poor country. An economist was talking to the group. He said, let me read you this thing. He read this economic report. And it said, this country has no hope. It has no resources. It is desperately poor. There's absolutely no way that we can see where we can help this country. There was a U.S. aid report about Korea right after the Korean War. There's no way that we can see. This country is hopeless. And this country is now an economic success story. And you can see it everywhere where you go. It's a very wealthy place, very successful place.
I don't know. I feel like everybody's working hard. There's not that many people that are just like sitting around. I don't know. Even among my friends, I feel like everybody's busy. Or if they're not busy, they're comfortably not busy. And then like what I said before, 빨리빨리 생활? 특히 서울에서 너무 있고 난 그 생활 너무 좋아해서 여기서 왔어요.
한국이 잘 사는 나라 같아요?
네, 부자 나라를 같아요. 뭔가 I feel like everything is available to you. Everything's really easy to find. And I think if you need help, people would help you. And if you need anything, you could probably find it. So in that sense, 부자 나라 같은데요.
Huge economic success. Korea is not a shrimp. Korea has had the saying that when whales fight, shrimps get their back broken. What's this about? This is the depiction of Korea's sense of victimization, a sense of helplessness in the 20th century world, where they were taken over by the Japanese. As soon as the war ends, they're divided by the Russians and the Americans. And when the whales fight, Korea, a shrimp, gets its back broken. This used to be a common expression, and you don't hear that much anymore. Younger people don't see themselves as victimized because they're successful economically. And so Korea is no longer a shrimp. It's a major player in the world. If you were to pick up Korea and drop it down in Europe, it would be a major European country. It's bigger than Italy, bigger than Spain, bigger than France, only slightly smaller than Germany and Great Britain, bigger than all Scandinavia, bigger than Poland. It would be a major player in Europe, but because of its geographic situation sandwiched between the number 2 economy in the world, China, and the number 3 economy in the world, Japan, it seems like a smaller country than it is, but it really is a major country.
I wonder if that's why 10 years ago we would only really talk about Japan and China, to be honest. I didn't really consider that before, of like because of its geographic location. Is that why it had less attention? I was in middle school, so it was like anime in Japan and business. We didn't really know much about Korea during that time either. I know it got famous through cosmetics as well. It was like Korea has the best makeup and the best skincare product, and then also Korea has K-pop and then the technology. I wonder what order all this stuff come in. But I mean, yeah, I think nowadays too, it's especially apparent that Korea is not weak. It's not like, I mean, in most big conversations, Korea is involved, China's involved, a lot of like America's involved. I don't know, it's definitely one of the more powerful countries in the world right now.
South Korea could not be more different from one another. People get confused about this just a little bit, even in America. But they could not be more different. South slavery. He took democracy seriously. What's it? South Korea. What's it? That says a lot. You see the difference. Number 7.
To be honest, I mean, even not so long ago, people at my high school would like, maybe not the best, it's just jokes, or like, oh, if you say, oh, I'm going to Korea, people are like, oh, not North Korea, right? Or something like that. I guess in the world that I grew up in, and like this is 10 years ago for me, but I was already in middle school. So by the time I got to high school and started talking about more worldly things, I feel like we all had already had like a strong impression that they were very different given the conflict.
Korea has the best alphabet in the world. Now, how can you say that? It's the only alphabet in the world that has all 5 of these criteria. It's celebrated in a national holiday. Isn't that great? They have an alphabet day. It's a national holiday for the alphabet. Number 2 is proclaimed on a certain day that we know in history, October 9th, 1446. It was developed by an individual that we know, King Sejong. How many alphabets were invented by someone that we know? Letters were created as a visual depiction of the linguistic fact of creating that sound. K, the first letter in the alphabet, is a picture of how your tongue is looped to make the. I can teach you how to read Korean in about an hour's time. King Sejong had advisors that helped him with the alphabet. One of them was a guy by the name of Chung In-ji. Chung In-ji said, we've got this great alphabet, and the dullest of people can learn it in a day. Number 5, and is an alphabet.
Actually, 나 전공이가 언어학이라서 난 이거 너무 배웠어요. Like what he was talking about how the tongue or the letters represent the different tongue positions is really true based on your tongue position, like in your mouth. If you're doing that versus like n is down. I don't know. When I first knew that it was in that time, that's so advanced. Like linguistically speaking, there's not that many people. There's no way they could look inside your mouth. They had to really just think about it and be very like self-aware and know so much about linguistics and be willing to research in that. I think it's really before its time, honestly. I just for fun, I learned how to read the alphabet from a Korean friend in high school, but I didn't know the language at all, but I could just like sound out words. So it's pretty, that's my favorite. 한글 너무 잘만 듣고 언어학 배우는 사람이한테 너무 재밌어요.
Area. World War II ends. So the Allied powers look at Germany and say, you taught us better to partition Germany. Germany's divided up into 4 parts. In the Pacific area, who perpetrated the war? Japan. So who were going to petition? Japan? They perpetrated the war. Germany? Japan? What do? We partition. Japan's first victim of the war is re-victimized after the war. Now tell me where that makes any sense. MacArthur wanted to preserve his Japan. He wanted to recreate Japan. So he partitions Korea. And Korea is victimized again. And it just doesn't make any sense at all.
About the war situation, I don't know the details of everything. I do know like the very bare basics from classes and stuff like that, but I am aware like Korea was helped a lot by the US. I don't know the details of how much that still comes to today. I know at first economically they helped Korea a lot, but then I don't know what it is like now, like numbers wise, but I feel like we still have a pretty good relationship, I want to say. I was surprised about talking about the Korean-American relationship. I didn't think that was something that he would bring up, to be honest. And then the comparing North Korea and South Korea, because it is, I guess, something that people do talk about. Like there is a relationship, of course, but I didn't think that people would actually realistically get confused. Maybe 10 years ago, because there's the name Korean, the word Korea in both names. But I'm surprised it had to be explicitly said, you know? Because nowadays I feel like people just know that they're different. 10년 전이라서 좀 신기하네. There is a connection, obviously, like internet travel, stuff like that. 근데 말했잖아, 그때 미국인들이 한국을 알 수 있는 거 별로 많지 않았어요. 나도 그때 조금만 아는데 정보 많이 없고 한국 친구도 많이 없었어요, 그때. 근데 신기하다. 이렇게 디테일까지도 알 수 있어서, 그 교수님이. 오늘은 미국 교수님이 10년 전에 한국을 얘기하는 것 봤어요. 혹시 좋아하면 라이크하고 subscribe 하면 좋겠어요. 바이바이.